Planet X is brought to you by the Inn at Sunset Cliffs here in beautiful Ocean Beach, California. Here's the website. Check it, book it, use it. You'll love it.
Only here on Planet X.
What up, Planet X? We're chilling back with Justin LePera, director of Isolated, one of my favorite surf films, award-winning. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer right here on Planet X.
West Papua, one of the most remote places on Earth. 5 world-class surfers search for an undiscovered wave.
We've been warned that, we can get into trouble here if we're not careful with the tribe and the military.
What began as a search to find untouched waves became a mission to uncover the truth.
West Papuan church leader has accused the Indonesian military of committing systematic genocide.
This dark past still seems to live on.
They kill many Papuans, women, ladies, little child.
Papua Merdeka is like free Papua. It's like giving me the goosebumps.
They want to shoot, kill. We don't want to die.
But how far are they willing to go?
They know that, like you coming, and we are sitting now.
We're gonna die. We're all gonna die.
All right, Planet X, we checked out his Isolated surf film on Netflix. It's been such a sweet film. We just contacted the executive producer and had to get Justin out here. Justin, there's a lot into this film that I really dig. Can you tell me the cause behind the film or anything going on with it?
Yeah, basically we were trying to bring awareness to the West Papuan struggle, what's going on over there with the genocide in the island of New Guinea on the western half, which is West Papua. And so it originally didn't start out that way. We weren't going out there to actually document that side of it. We were actually going out there to document feral surfers doing their thing, which is traveling to the most remote places on the planet, trying to find waves and what they go through while trying to find these waves, living off the jungle and enduring the hostile environments that they're in and all for the stoke of just finding epic waves. I always wanted to document feral surfers going to the most remote places on the planet to find waves and to capture what they really endure in doing so, whether it's battling malaria or the hostile environments. And so I started to think about different locations that would be epic to do an epic feral surf movie, and reached out to Travis Potter, who's a world famous feral surfer. That's what he's known for, living off the jungles in Indonesia. And we kind of just scoured the globe looking for different spots that could have potential for waves and that there really wasn't any documentation of. And originally we landed on Papua New Guinea, and we loved the location because it was the densest rainforest in the world, really primitive tribes that inhabit the area. It's kind of a no man's land. And then we discovered it had really been mapped out by a lot of surfers from Australia and all over the world. And so while doing that, we learned about the western half of New Guinea, which is West Papua, and there's literally nothing you can find as far as surf. Even Lonely Planet didn't have anything written about the area. You couldn't find anything on it, and here was the same island and just really untouched. And then we discovered there's a prohibition of journalist visas, so there's no journalists going to the region. And that was like, and it looked like from the coastline that we were looking at on Google Earth, it looked like there was some perfect setups that could potentially have world-class waves. And so that's what we decided to do. That's when we decided to go over to West Papua. So then we basically got a team of some of the most gnarly feral surfers you can imagine from all over the world that Travis knew could take on such a mission. Because, yeah, even though I'm bringing a film crew of a few of us, we're basically enduring the same environment. So there is no medical aid for anybody. We're really documenting it as it goes. There's no obviously hair and makeup stylist. It's not Bear Grylls, staying in a hotel. You're living in the jungle with these guys. So we wanted to make sure that we had a crew of surfers that were really down for such a mission, and that's how we ended up with Jimmy Rotherham. He's from El Salvador. His dad, how Jimmy ended up in El Salvador is his dad back in the 70s traveled searching for waves up and down Central America and found an epic surf spot and just landed right there, and that's where Jimmy grew up. So his thing was, I want to do something like my dad did. And then we got Andrew Mooney, who's a gnarly Australian surfer. He's known for surfing breaks like ship sterns. He traveled all through actually Papua New Guinea. So he's always down for the mission. Young guy that was really eager to really get into the whole aspect of surfing outside of just going on charter boats and landing in perfect waves and really trying to go out and actually find epic waves. And then we also grabbed Jenny Useldinger. She was out of Hawaii, and basically she's a big wave surfer, and met Jenny through a referral from a couple guys that just said, this girl is gnarly, she's down for whatever. And we thought it would be great to bring Jenny along to have a girl with us, because in certain tribes we knew there was a matriarch society. So there could be a scenario where she would actually kind of have to take the reins and kind of be in control of us and kind of break the ice with the different tribes. And then Josh Fuller was kind of like a last minute guy. He amazing all around under the radar surfer. He's just known. He was a guy I knew, like, if we found those epic waves, he was the guy that could really score as far as getting clips and great stuff for surf. So basically, West Papua, to give you a background on it, it's the western half of the island of New Guinea, which is just south of Indonesia, just north of Australia, second largest island in the world. It has the densest rainforest in the world and has peaks that I believe reach up to 15, maybe even upwards of 17,000 feet. So it's a very primitive area in that the tribes are very untouched. In fact, the rainforest is so dense that there could be potentially tribes that have had no contact with the outside world, still to this day. And so that's kind of the backdrop with it. And what's happened over in West Papua is it's occupied by Indonesia. And the reason why Indonesia occupies the area is that it holds the largest gold and copper mine in the world, and which is owned by a U.S.-based company, Freeport-McMoRan. And what it does is it's the biggest taxpayer to Indonesia. So with that, you have traditional Papuans in these tribes inhabiting the region occupied by a completely different country. And we knew that going in, and we knew there was a conflict between the local Papuans wanting independence and the Indonesian military occupying, and that there was violence in the region. And so
much going on.
Yeah, and basically we wanted to stay away from the conflict and get really remote and get more into the essence of surf travel and getting lost in the jungle and visiting with the different tribes that live there, away from the cities. But unfortunately, the first place you have to land when you get to West Papua is Jayapura, which is basically the red zone, I would say, of the conflict in the region. And right when we got off the plane, there was a guy on the plane spouting, independence to West Papua, come help us. And yeah, and then we trying to get our gear and trying to stay low key. It was like, okay, we got to get out of here. And so what I did was I had us get to the first hotel we could find and get all the guys and our gear in as fast as possible so that Travis and I could go out and look for boats to get us out into the jungle, basically isolated from the city. And so we left in the middle of the night. We hired some fishermen, left in the middle of the night, and took off to where we really didn't know. They were going to take us as far as they could in a day, which ended up being multiple days. of just traveling, looking for coastline. And when we found what we thought would be an epic setup, then we would just have them dump us off and maybe come back in a month to pick us up, and then we would travel by foot from there, or if we stayed with the tribe, travel with the tribe to the next tribe. Well, we didn't get very far without finding, we didn't find too many waves along the way at first. It was really steep coastlines and really bad setups for waves. So they didn't want to take us any further, so they dumped us off in a village, and from then things started to shift. On the way to this village, we wanted to do some spear fishing and try to stock up for the night. And while we're out there, a couple canoes come up from this tribe, and they're saying, get out of the water, get out of the water. You need to get permission to be here. You need to get permission to be fishing on our reefs. So then it was like, okay, we're already getting into a hostile situation. We don't know how we're going to be received. So what do? We just send Travis alone, just go on the beach and try to figure this out. And so he goes on up there and meets with the chief, and sits in his hut, and they rap for about an hour, and we don't know what's going on. We're just waiting. And then finally he comes out and he guys, unload, this is where we're staying tonight. And they took us in. It was just incredible. They took us in, brought us fish, let us surf on their small little rippable wave out front. And basically right then we noticed a shift that was happening with the kids. The kids all ran to the shoreline and were just watching. They'd never seen surfing before, and where we were at this particular spot. And so we started handing off the boards, and sure enough, they just started taking right to it and jumping on the boards, and we realized this is where we want to stay for a while. Like, this is everything that's great about surf travel, is being able to share something is amazing as surfing with people that have never done it before. And that's when the movie really starts to shift, because we start to learn about what's really going on over there, and that's the annihilation of the Papuan people by the Indonesian military. And at first, it was a really kind of sketchy thing to get into, knowing that eyes are on you. Along our travels, we got stopped by the military. We knew they were trying to figure out where we were going next. Any place that we were visible, they were there on us, making us check in, making us sign in, see where we were going to go. So we knew, like, the more we get into this, the more we're going to create more and more attention. And the scary thing for me at that point was, like, how far do I want to take this with this group of surfers that are just out here to surf? And Travis was all in. So Travis and I were kind of setting up secret meetings on the side with different villagers to really get a grasp on what was going on and how serious the issue was over there. And we started to learn about, these people fear for their lives every day by the military, and all based primarily on race. These people were hundreds of miles from the gold mine, which is the major reason why Indonesia is over there. So it wasn't necessarily the goal that they were worried about them trying to take over. It was more the fear of them having an uprising against them, even though these people don't have weapons. I mean, they have spears and bow and arrows, literally. And so, we just basically started to unravel, what was going on, and it took multiple trips. We ended up going up into the highlands, where a lot of murders and torture videos were starting to get leaked, because luckily cell phones have now reached West Papua and people are using them, and it's becoming more and more visible. And basically the trip it was one of those things you had to give them a voice.
So it sounds like it's crazy over there. I mean, people getting shot, stabbed, speared, bowed, everything. It sounds like it's pretty crazy. The Travis talking to tribe leaders, that's pretty solid. You want to get more into that? How is it now? It's been 2 years since you guys did that filming. Do you think it's still pretty crazy over there? What's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, what's going on over there is nothing, really. There's more and more stuff getting leaked, but there's very little influence from the outside world. And the Papuan people, they have a voice, and they're trying to reach out. That was the purpose of our movie, was to help spread that voice as best as we could to maybe people that really, into surfing and would never have heard about West Papua. And but unfortunately, people are still getting uprooted from their villages, moved to different locations. Tribes are still getting shot down. The conflict is probably worse than it's ever been. There's they estimate over 500,000 people that have been killed through this conflict. It could have reached up to 1 million. Because the tribes are so remote, you really don't know.
What was the worst thing that happened to you guys when you guys were over there?
Travis getting malaria was probably one of the worst things, as far as, you know, things that you expect, you know, when you go on these types of trips. We had a camera operator get malaria, Travis get malaria. Meeting with the rebels was pretty gnarly. Luckily, it was safe.
Did you have to like negotiate with them, like rebels? What do you mean rebels? Like gangsters, mafia?
Basically, political figures that were.
Called rebels.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how I kind of refer to them, as you know, they're rebelling against Indonesia, and these were the big head figures, and so we met with them privately. They had guards all around. When we went to go meet with them, they took us up into the jungle, then back down to the city, then up in the jungle, then back down to the city. We were wondering, you know, what's going on, and it was basically like, Indonesia's everywhere. They got eyes on us. They know with you guys here, we're talking about Papua freedom, and you know, our lives are in danger. From all the way we did that meeting, and the next morning we were out on a plane. They were escorting us on the plane out of West Papua. So that's how serious they take it. Just to talk about what's going on over there, they could get treason, which could be life in prison, or death, and that's what they fear is really the death, and that's a big reason for a lot of the murders that are going on over there, is that if they believe that you're opposing the government in any way, that's it. You know, that's
just sayonara, see you later. I don't know what that is in Indonesia, but I'm assuming it's some crazy word. So you guys have experienced some crazy adventures over there. What's the most unique thing about Indonesia besides all the bad and the unique surface? Is there anything going on out there?
Indonesia is an amazing country. The people are absolutely incredible, whether you're in Indonesia or West Papua. The people are very different in cultures from Indonesia, like Java or Sumatra, different islands, versus West Papua. Physically, they look completely different. Traditions are totally different, but they both are extremely welcoming. They just take you in as family. You don't have to worry about things getting stolen. And it's all about, they live off the land. For the most part, in the really remote regions, they like it that way. They're not in need. You know, the funny thing with us is we had like lights on our heads and everything at night, and they just would laugh at us. They thought we were completely helpless, which we were. Yeah. And you know, they didn't need anything more. They didn't want that stuff from us. The one thing we did give them was surfboards that we left behind for the kids. You know, that's something, and we tried to teach them how to shape their own boards so that they could carry it on, you know, after those boards break, of course. And so
that was not very long.
Right. So that was, but both, I love Indonesia. I love West Papua. I hate what's going on in West Papua. But you don't see, with the Indonesian people that are over there and the West Papuans, you don't see a lot of conflict. They seem to get along fine. It's really between the military, the Indonesian military, and the West Papuan people.
All right, Planet X, this film is on Netflix. Isolated surf film. Go check it out.
Enter a forbidden land on the most secluded corner of the globe. Where 5 world-class surfers journey into a world left behind. They search to ride untouched waves and bring surfing to the edge of civilization. But what they find will change them forever.
We're in the middle of the jungle and our van is stuck.
This is serious malaria territory.
You know, she told me just don't cross the river, because that's where all the cannibals are.
Being warned that, you know, we can get into trouble here if we're not careful.
After they kill their enemy, they eat them.
They want to shoot, kill, shoot, kill. So we don't want to die. We're all gonna die.
All right, Planet X, we're all about helping out over here. Justin, how do you get involved over there?
You can go to www.isolated.tv and be Ambassador for Peace. It's basically where you go on, use your cell phone, take a video and just say, I'm an Ambassador for Peace, Isolated Ambassador for Peace. Tell us your name. It's basically a video petition that we're doing to let the world know about what's going on in West Papua, or you can sign the petition to the White House demanding that the U.S. Takes action on West Papua.
Justin, thanks for coming on today. We really appreciate it. Planet X, we'll see you guys soon.
Only here on Planet X.
Planet X is brought to you by the Inn at Sunset Cliffs, here in beautiful Ocean Beach, California. Here's the website. Check it, book it, use it, you'll love it.